Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to another edition of our podcast series, If I Can, You Can. For those who have been following us, welcome back. And to those who are just joining us for the first time, it's really good to have you join us today. I am Tititope James, your favorite host, and we have a very interesting guest today. He has worked in all the big four accounting firms, and also Dangote Flour Mills, to mention a few, by providing tax solutions to them. He is known as a tax guru, and is currently the tax manager at Deloitte. Please make welcome Mr. Nojeem Yusuf. Welcome, Mr.
Thanks,
Nojeem Yusuf.
thank you, Tititope, for that introduction, and thanks to ICAN Online Tutors for this invitation. It's good to be here.
It's our pleasure. So, going through your profile, you have a very, very interesting background, and I'm sure your story is going to interest a lot of us listening to you today. So you studied Greek in university, but then now you're a tax guru. So we'd like to know the story behind that, like the journey. How did that happen? How come? So
Okay,
please tell us.
very quickly is that it's not a strange story. Actually, there are many people in my shoes too, and I'll give you a very good example. When I joined KPMG, there were 40 of us that joined the tax function. Of the 40 of us, only 4 people studied accounting, and
Wow.
4 people studied soil science, which I also studied at university. So people studied differently. There was a colleague that studied Russian language and literature. Some people studied engineering. In fact, I had more people who studied engineering than who studied accounting. So from that moment, I've always been used to the fact that we had people who had non-accounting backgrounds to go into the accounting profession. And at that time, when I joined, there were 6 partners in tax in KPMG then. I think only 2 of them studied accounting. Others studied different things, some engineering, some law, some chemistry, and all that. And they all became qualified. So, all through my journey through the accounting profession, I've always been used to seeing people who study courses other than accounting being in the accounting profession. It's always been enough. Even way back in school too, I had cousins who were taking accounting, ICAN exams, and they had come to say that they told me about stories of doctors who have become accountants and all that. So it has never been strange to me to be honest. So I think that's a good way to start.
Yeah, well, true. But then for you, why was there that shift from the sciences into accounting? Like why didn't you just practice your sciences?
Okay, so when I got to the university, I actually wanted to study stuff around statistics, but then I was discouraged because people said you won't get a job with statistics. So what I then applied for was the computer sciences. Computer statistics is like mathematics, and computer science is an advanced and more interesting course compared to mathematics. So I applied for computer science. Somehow I didn't get admission to computer science. But there were openings in some other departments which include agriculture, and that's how I found myself with soil science. I did it for a year. The plan was to do it for a year and then go back to computer science or mathematics. But after 1 year, I was just too interested in agriculture and I continued doing it. So, but the funny thing about agriculture is that when you study agriculture university, I studied soil science, but I won't just study soil science. I was going to study all the aspects of agriculture for my first 4 years. Do animal production, do agricultural economics, and do fisheries, do forestry. Every aspect of agriculture. You will then specialize in your core in your final year. So I got to do agri-economics, I got to do agri-business and investments. And so that part then became the most interesting part of my university journey. I loved the course around finance, agri-finance, agri-business, agri-investment. So when I graduated, while I still wanted to do soil science, a part of me wanted to do something around finance and investment. So I was looking for jobs in the finance houses, investment banks, and then the Kakawa discount houses. I think I'd approached Stanbic and all that, but those opportunities did not come available. And at some point, somebody that mentioned KPMG to me, say this is advert, blah blah blah. Would you like to do it? Never thought about it, but would they hire me? I have a 2 in Agric that if they're going to hire me to apply. and then applied, and I got in really. Until that time, I didn't really know what Big Four was. I used to hear it once in a while, but it didn't make any sense to me. I didn't appreciate the value of what I just thought it was just a job, and that was how I got into KPMG. It was when I joined, I then realized that wow, it's a place that a lot of people cherish to work with. I thought it was just a
regular firm. You
Hello?
you're muted. Why? Yes, I did.
Hello?
Yeah, so I'm with you now. I can hear you now. Like I think you automatically muted. I don't know how that happened. Um, but I can hear you now.
Okay, I mean, I
Hello.
couldn't hear for a while.
Yes, me too. I
Okay,
couldn't
so
hear you.
okay, so I was saying that where did I stop?
About KPMG being a place that
Okay,
everybody really loves to go.
yeah, so I mean that's how I got into KPMG. So it was sciences first, computer science, mathematics. Then and because I couldn't get admission, I had to opt for soil science and had the option to go back to computer science. But then I fell in love with what I was doing. As I progressed, I did courses all around agriculture, and the part I loved the most was agri-finance, business, and investments.
Business.
So I then wanted to work in that profession, that area. So I was looking for jobs in that area. And somehow I didn't get jobs in those areas. I didn't get an invitation. I got applications, but I didn't get invitations for that offer tests. The closest that came around was KPMG. And I mean, I got people to speak with, so there was an interesting opportunity to I could try it. I tried it. The rest they say is history.
History. Yeah. Fantastic. So at what point did you do your ICAN? Did you start your ICAN? Was it before you got into KPMG or when you got into KPMG? At what point did you write the professional exam?
So it was after I joined, and so I mean, KPMG when you join and you're required to start taking the exam. I think it's 6 months after joining. So I joined in September, and so by 6 months, so I think I started writing October the next year. So yes, I joined September 2011, but I started taking the exams in November 2012, and it took me 5 years. I had a 1 year break where I did not write any exams for personal reasons. 5 years and also 2012
Okay.
November to July 2017, and I did my induction in November 2017. And that's been
Wow,
it.
interesting. And how was your experience with the ICAN exam? Was there anything, yeah, was there any course you found difficult or
Okay,
it was all smooth all through?
so okay, I will come to that, but truth be told is that I was one of the very few that felt that ICAN was irrelevant, that it wasn't adding so much value to, to the work I do. I felt that way
That's
because
initially, right?
I felt that way because I was doing taxation. My profession was tax,
Okay.
and there were only just two
Mm,
courses in taxation. A lot of other things that I really do not
mm,
need. So maybe that was why I felt that way. And by the time I was taking taxation courses, I'd already learned those things on the job, so it felt very boring. And so maybe that was why I didn't put in my.
okay.
I didn't take it very seriously in the beginning.
Mm,
But I think it's not it wasn't the right mindset. Looking back in and because again, not knowledge is but I also need all these other aspects of accounting knowledge apart from taxation to make
mm,
you so yes, it wasn't entirely smooth. There were a few papers that I took more than once. I remember I took audit and assurance twice. That was at that intermediate level. I remember I took MGA thrice. And yeah, I mean, the first time I took it was a
wow.
new, there were nothing to read. So, I mean, I just tried my luck. I was just reading
Okay.
stuff. Was no books. The books came out only a week to the exam, and it was too late to read that text. And so that was it. The second time. I think I was too busy with work and I couldn't prepare as much. And the third time I think then I think in my finals too, I did um, I did the case study exams and advanced financial SFM, strategic financial management twice. Yes, So the way the courses I did them. So I strongly think that so it wasn't a case of being difficult. Every course I had to take that one. It was likely because I did not pay enough, or there were no sufficient resources to prepare. So in case of MGE, the book came out just on the exam, the audit exam and all that. I just did not have enough time to prepare, and I was almost certain that I was going to clear those classes. Yeah. And there were a few cases where I didn't think I was going to pass and then passed. So it wasn't entirely simple. In the cases where I had to retake, I was almost sure that I was going to retake those exams. Yeah, so I
Okay,
think
so
lesson is this,
how
because
are
it's difficult to combine work with exam, especially when you work in a very demanding job environment. You have a family.
exactly? That's where my question was going.
Was I preempted you? So take the question then.
No,
Hello?
you're already answering the question. So just tell us how you were able to
Okay.
combine.
So it
I'm
was
with you.
challenging. I mean,
So I'd like to know how you're able to combine
so
both.
yes, I got married very early. In my second, just 1 year after working, I got married. I started making children early. So there were
Wow.
demands from the family, demands at work, and then demands for exams too. I used to live far away from work, so
Wow.
traffic and all that. So it was demand. So I could understand why I had to take some because I wouldn't blame it on ICAN. I'll blame it on all the conditions around me. Yeah, but so far so good. It was a good experience. It was worth it. Yeah.
Interesting. So how were you able to navigate all of that family life with working and writing like ICAN exam? Because I have a couple of people who as well are in that kind of situation, right? So like how were you able to navigate all of them together, meet all these demands without one suffering? Or
Okay.
what was your technique? Well, how did you go about that?
So I had to rank, and to be honest, in ranking all these things, ICAN was not ranking the highest. The job and family came first and second. I won't tell you the other. And ICAN honestly came third. So I then had to say that if I'm going to do this exam, I'm not going to attempt to study all aspects of the exam at the same level because it's not practical in my circumstance. So what I then did some general readings around the syllabus to get familiar, and then went through the history of past questions to see what areas will exams always focus on, and focus on those exams, master those aspects. So my experience there typically cover 40% of the syllabus. So if 40% of the syllabus is guaranteed, I then do some guesswork to fix some other aspect. Rushing to the exams. I mean, that was what I had to do. Because I had to live on with life. I had to work. I had to keep a family, and I had some time to be able to clear it. I mean, for me, there's no value. Yes, there's value. If I can clear it at the earliest possible time. But I mean, if I was going to clear it in 2 3 years, it could have impacted some other aspect of my life. I don't think that was the right thing, right approach to take. I wasn't going to use the exams for anything particular at that time. I wasn't there to qualify when I was going to make manager. Making manager was a couple of days ahead of me then, so I had that leeway to be able to manage me after. So what I would say is people should be sure what their priorities are. Sometimes the ICAN exams are not your priorities. I mean, if it's going to
They
impact
have to be
negatively,
realistic about their circumstance.
there's no value in saying that I must get the exam in 1 year if it's going to negatively impact your job. Yeah, so it's not the race for the swift. I mean, it's what works for you best is what you should do.
Yeah. Interesting. So basically people have to be realistic about their situation and set their priorities right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Then that will determine the strategy they are going to adopt towards the ICAN examination.
Absolutely.
Okay, so like you said, like the ICAN wasn't much of a big deal for you because you're already working in Big Four, you're already specialized as a tax person. But then how did the ICAN examination, I mean qualifying as a chartered accountant, how did it impact your professional life? Was there any impact at all when you're done? Or you just
Okay, so
felt like, oh, this is just one certification to my name?
okay, so I'll tell you a situation where it almost negatively impacted me and how it positively
Okay, so I think I've lost you.
They didn't want people to get promotions all along the line, and when they're about to manager, they are rather clear exams. So
Sorry,
they have
I think I
to.
lost you for like a minute. So can you just start it
Okay,
out?
okay. I'll take that again. So your question was how positively as I can impact my career.
Yeah.
Yes, and I then
How has
said
it
that
impacted you generally? You said both negatively and positively, almost
yes,
negatively and
yes,
positively.
yes. So I was going to say that I'll tell you a story of one aspect that negatively impacted me. So there was a job that I wanted to apply for. I actually applied. So I didn't apply. I think somebody reached out to me. The recruiter reached out to me, and I applied. I wasn't qualified there, so I put part qualified. Somehow the
Okay.
recruiter wasn't Nigerian. She didn't understand what part qualified
How
meant.
to qualify?
What she thought was that I'd passed all the exam and I was only waiting for induction. She scheduled me for the interview.
Okay.
And even the hiring manager thought the same thing. I went through the interview, they liked me and all that. And just last minute, they just wanted to clarify what does part qualified? It doesn't mean that you have cleared the exam. No. I have 5 papers. I still had 5 papers to write at that time. I had to tell them, so I have 6 papers to write. So I have 6 papers and it can take me, it will at least take me a year to clear them. And so that was the end of the journey. They were concluding
Wow.
a good job, yes, but I couldn't proceed because I did not have ICAN. It was at that point that I took ICAN extremely seriously.
Seriously.
Because it costed me, and I felt bad about it. That if I didn't have it, I wasn't going to. There were some jobs I wasn't going to get. So I took it seriously. Uh, Luckily, I got into Dangote shortly after that point. They didn't need any qualified accountant to step into that, so I took that job and I started doing a good job, doing well. And I wasn't asking for promotion after about 1 year, around 9 months, 10 months, because I felt I was doing really good. And I've gotten feedback from my superiors that I was doing a good job, blah blah blah. They loved the job I was doing and all that. And at that time, there wasn't a very clear promotion timelines then, so you need to ask for it, to make a case that you due for promotion. So we're having that conversation. It was a year to give us some time. We need to talk to HR to do all that. Just around that time, I finally results came that I cleared all my exams. I then mentioned it to
Wow.
my CFO. Say, now you will get your promotion. I will talk to HR. And in
Fantastic.
2-3 weeks, so in 2-3 weeks, the conversation started seriously and all that. I think in a month after the conversation was confirmed, just after the final exams were so they had every basis to make me to confirm me and all that, but somehow they didn't tell me it was ICAN that they were waiting for. And the ICAN results came out and got that major promotion. So yes, it does not work for me. So what I will say to people is that even though you don't think it's so important, at least clear it. So I will tell you for free that in the market today, ICAN is the most recognized accounting profession in Nigeria. And if you're going to take on senior roles, at least manager roles, people will insist on you being chartered accountant. Maybe not necessarily because they need those competence, but there are people who are going to be junior to you who will be qualified accountant. And you don't want issues where somebody is saying that somebody who's way your junior is qualified and you are not qualified. And nobody wants to, I mean, it can be a cultural issue. You can have some people can have difficulty using qualified accountant. So because of that issue, I mean, we're going to lead teams, particularly of people who are qualified. Because many nowadays you have very young guys who are qualified, people who are 20, who are still on the level, 200 level, they are already qualified and they will get good jobs. So if you're going to take those kind of leadership roles, you must be qualified.
You also have to be qualified.
At least for that reason, you need to take it seriously. But even beyond that, I think I mean, what makes me a rounded accountant, chartered accountant, I mean, that professional is because I have a good grasp of almost every aspect of the exams I took. Like that. So when I read, even though I want to pass the exam, I don't read. I try to understand it as well and apply it to how, I mean, relate it to how it applies in reality. And it affects the way I do my job. So, corporate reporting, I apply the manual accounting, stuff like that. So I bring those learnings to bear on the job, which was a no knowledge. So take very good advice. That's on of every aspect of the exam, no matter what aspect of practicing in your life. And relate it to practice. And you just try to let me pass it and move on. If you pass it and just move on, you will take 5. But if you relate it to your life experiences, to your work experiences,
Yeah.
you
Be
derive
able to connect it.
value from those exams.
Interesting. So I'll also like to know. So what made you specialize in tax? I mean, your love for finance could as well have gone into audit, could as well have gone into advisory, but why tax?
Okay, so like I said, I was looking for a job in finance and all that. And what came out was KPMG. And the advert that I saw there was KPMG tax. So I
Okay.
didn't have to specialize in tax. It was just what came to me. But when I started it, I liked the fact that there was not always a particular answer to the question. So I mean, you need to do studies, you need to analyze, you can come with different arguments. And it was a very interesting discipline for me.
Know the laws.
So I just fell in love with it. I mean, it aligned with my competencies, my skills, and all that. So it made sense to me to continue to work on. I mean, to continue to try on that. Maybe if I started before it for some reason, I mean, I've just found my way back to tax. I knew tax was interesting. So no regrets. So I entered tax by happenstance, to be honest. But reflecting back again, it's a profession that aligns with what I love. So no regrets whatsoever.
And your person.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what would be your advice to those who may want to make a switch like you did from the sciences to accounting, or even if it's the other way around? What would you say is your advice? Because like you said, you had difficulty in getting a job initially because you were from the sciences to one, and then you were just trying to get finance jobs, but it wasn't forthcoming. What kept you going, one, and then what would be your advice to others who are trying to go through that same navigation as well?
Okay, so when I say, I'm not sure I used the word difficulty because yes, it took a while, but it didn't take so long. I finished NYC in February. I didn't start looking for a job immediately because I was thinking of doing I actually started doing my master's in economy and in some university then. And so I didn't start looking for a job immediately until about March and April. And I got my job in September. So it didn't take so long. It was a couple of about 6 months or thereabout. So my advice to those who want to do tax, and I think I did a LinkedIn post on this subject a few weeks ago. What I've said is that if tax or accounting is what you want to do, you really do not, I mean, based on what I understand about the market today, you really do not need to study accounting at university. What you need to do is to graduate well. With the 2-1 or first class if you can. I mean, that makes you comfortable. There's no job that says the minimum is first class, but there are a couple of jobs that say the minimum is a 2-1 degree. So as much as possible, try to get a 2-1 degree. Be sure you are genuinely interested in this profession. Don't do it because you have heard of people who earn well. In many professionals, there are people who earn well across. But if you are genuinely convinced about it, you really do not need to study accounting. Start doing the ICAN exams, join a tuition house, and if you're one of those that can study I can study on my own. If you think you can study on your own, good news is that now you have a lot of videos you can learn from and all that. You may not even, if you think that sitting in front of the chair work for you, then please get that teacher. Do what works for you. It makes sense to take this exam early if you study something like accounting. For myself, I was lucky because I was working within the profession. I was learning on the job, so maybe I didn't need a classroom teacher to take me through all this. So what I would say is that be sure that you're genuinely interested. Start taking the exams as quick as possible and learn through a means that works for you best. If it's online, if it's training, if it's tuition houses, if it's reading self-study, do what works for you best. As much as possible, try and get a job in an environment that gives you a deep experience. I mean, at the beginning, I would tell you for free is that do not focus on money. Take a job that will deep quality experience that you're going to learn going on the job. Not a job that will just ask you to just come and be preparing invoices, paying vouchers, where you'll be doing manual job that all you do this every day is the same thing. You will not learn. And 2-3 years down the line, you will not be able to get better jobs. You will not be able to get promotion because your job is not adding as much value. So in the beginning, I will tell your graduates to not focus on the money. Focus on the job that will give you quality experience. That quality experience will help you get jobs that will pay you the right amount of money that you desire. Some people will be very lucky in the beginning. They get very good job, or get very, good money, and offer them very good experience. Yeah. But if you're going to get a job where fresh grad, somebody's paying you 400K because it's an oil business, we are just doing vouchers. Yeah, so the guy that's paying 80K will get promotion to 150, 350, 500. You may just be going 450, 450, and before you know it, the guys will buy similar. Get a job that has quality experience. I also think you should get a mentor, no matter how informal it is. Somebody who is more experienced than you have, somebody who you look up to. That person will always guide you what you do. Don't do it all alone. Secondly, get a mentor, more experienced than you have. Trust to take you through this process. And that would be my advice.
Interesting. Okay, so I think I'll have a final question for you, based on what you just mentioned now about getting quality experience, right? So my question would be: do you think there's an ideal work experience? An ideal place that a fresh graduate. Okay, let me bring it to the accounting, to those who study the accounting now. Like, do you think there's an ideal job that a fresh accountant or somebody who wants to study accounting, regardless of whether the person is from the sciences or the arts, that they should get a job at? This is an ideal job that they should get at the beginning.
Okay, so because I'm a Big Four person, that's apart from the few and the less than 24 months I spent with Dangote, I'm a Big Four person. I'm a fan of Big Four firms. I strongly believe that that's the best place anybody who wants to do, build the professional accounting and finance to start a career. But everybody cannot work in the Big Four. And so there are other places you can start. But I'm saying that if you're going to start and if you can't get into the Big Four,
Hello?
Talk to them. Can you hear me?
I lost you for like a minute when we were talking about they can't get into KPMG, at least they should get into somewhere.
So I'm saying that for anybody who wants to build a career in accounting, so when I say accounting means audit, assurance, staff, for financial reporting and all that, it makes sense to start the Big Four firms. But I'm saying that it's a very competitive place to work in. Everybody cannot work in. There are other firms to work with. There are local firms or maybe other international firms that are not Big Four, but they are also strong.
Like medium-sized firms.
Medium-sized firms. They have quality.
Like the video,
exactly.
PKF.
Exactly. You know them well. Very good place to work to. Again, if you can't find those places, if you can join a multinational that will hire you through the management trainee or the graduate training route, not just the management trainee or the graduate training route offers quality experience. It takes you around different functions. They have a calendar, is scheduled for robust training. If you just join as a regular recruit, and a payable person, you're not likely to benefit. But if you come in through the management, that special route of management training or graduate training, likely to develop quality, to end quality experience. They will take you around the functions. You will do treasury, you will do payables, receivables, you will do credit management, you will do financial reporting, you will do tax. You go all around. You will even do
that's true. All around experience. True.
It makes you all around. So those are the kind of places you should approach. And if you cannot find these places, there are smaller firms, take advantage of them. In those kind of cases, you will then need to almost by a case of compulsion, you need a mentor. Because these other places will give you a mentor and guide you. But if you go to a much smaller thing, nobody is likely to focus on the career development.
Exactly. So you have to take responsibility by yourself.
Exactly. And unfortunately, that's where the majority of the people are going to college. But good news is that there are few people who have not been opportune to work with multinationals before, but have been able to build a very robust career for themselves. And we can see some of them at the top today. So it's still very, very possible.
That's true.
It's very possible. But you will need somebody more experienced to guide you. You don't want to do it on people have gone through this part. So do not stress yourself to come and learn everything on your own. Learn from the experiences of other people who have passed through the path that you have gone through. You don't want to go and just suffer yourself unnecessarily. Learn from others. Don't be too proud to learn from others. Learn from them,
Interesting.
build on it, and use it to grow.
Instead of having your own unnecessary failure experiences that you could have just have leveraged on
You don't
someone
need to
else's
unwind
own.
your way of feeling. You don't need to.
Thank you so much. I see that you do a lot of you post a lot on your LinkedIn page. So I'm sure even this mentoring, I think it's part of the service that you also provide on your profile. I saw something like that on your profile. So for those who want to who need more information about mentoring, you could connect with him on LinkedIn. Connect with him on LinkedIn is Mr. Nojeem Yusuf. Connect with him on LinkedIn, Nojeem Yusuf. Thank you very much, Mr. Nojeem. It's been a really insightful session. I mean, there's a whole lot about combining work with family, taking ICAN seriously, the benefit of ICAN, and a whole lot of that like that. Thank you so much for coming through today.
Thank you for having me.
So if you found this, it's a pleasure to have you. We are really grateful. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Thank you for having me here. It's been nice speaking with you.
Yeah.
Cheers. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
You too. Yeah, bye. So for those listening to us, if you found this podcast really insightful and relatable, please follow us on YouTube and Anchor, ICAN Online Tutors. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.